Today, you're going to see the greatest actors in history, and of course, their greatest performances. The ones who set the standard for acting with their intensity, commitment, and immersion. These actors didn't just act. They lived and became their characters. This top list is not only a tribute to their talent, but a collection of moments where the art of acting reached its highest form. Today on Cine Prime. Anthony Hopkins is one of the most versatile and respected actors of all time. Capable of mastering both classical theater and modern cinema, his technique, presence, and emotional depth have made him a legendary figure. His absolute control of every nuance sets him apart as one of the greats. He recently won the Oscar for a masterful performance in The Father. But nothing captures his brilliance better than his portrayal of the most iconic psychopath in film.
I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
In The Silence of the Lambs, Hopkins turned what was originally a supporting role into one of the most unforgettable performances in history. With just 16 minutes on screen, he created a character that oozes elegance, danger, and disturbing intelligence. His precise diction, motionless gaze, and perfect control of pacing. Every second he's on screen is hypnotic. Hopkins doesn't yell or overact, he simply dominates the scene with a cold, chilling intensity. The famous character became part of pop culture, and his performance redefined what it means to be a villain in cinema. He won the Oscar for Best Actor for this role, and proved that screen time doesn't matter when every second is meticulously calculated to leave a lasting impression. A true masterclass in acting. Clint Eastwood is a living legend of cinema. A Western and action film icon, his impenetrable gaze, stoic presence, and minimalism in expression made him the face of tough, timeless masculinity. But his career goes far beyond his gunslinger beginnings. He is also a film director, one of the best in history, a bold producer, and an actor capable of expressing emotional complexity with just a look. His trajectory is not only incredibly long, but deeply influential, shaping entire generations of viewers and filmmakers. He is the embodiment of classical cinema, redefined into mature art. His most iconic role is the good. His most romantic role is in the film he himself directed. But his greatest role, without a doubt.
Misfire. Kill us!
In Unforgiven, Eastwood strips away his own myth. He plays William Money, a former killer who's left violence behind, but returns to it out of necessity. This is not the classic hero. He is a tired, tormented man, full of doubts. Eastwood shows Money as a shadow of who he once was, a figure marked by guilt and brutality. His performance is restrained, filled with silence, guilt, and a constant sense of looming danger. Instead of glorifying the shootout, he presents it as something dirty, sad, and brutal. The final monologue, cold and merciless, powerfully closes a reflection on violence and its cost. Eastwood doesn't just act, he deconstructs his own legacy, and he does so masterfully. James Stewart was one of the most iconic and beloved actors in American cinema, with a career that spanned over 5 decades. With his characteristic acting style, blending warmth, vulnerability, and sincerity, Stewart won over audiences' hearts. Throughout his career, he worked with renowned directors like Frank Capra and Alfred Hitchcock, showing incredible versatility. His screen presence was unmistakable, able to convey both humor and drama with equal skill. With Capra, he delivered his most human performance.
Please help me, Mr. Potter. Help me, won't you please?
With Liberty Valance, a more philosophical role.
Hallie, would you be too sorry?
But one performance surpasses them all. One of the most complex and profound in cinema history.
I made it. I made it.
What did you do?
In Vertigo, Stewart played John Scotty Ferguson, a retired detective suffering from acrophobia. This role was one of the most challenging of his career. Stewart, with his gift for conveying internal emotions subtly, portrayed a man whose obsession and emotional fragility drag him into a spiral of despair. His performance reflects the inner struggle of a man unable to overcome his fears, trapped in a tragedy of manipulation and desire. Every glance and gesture heightens the film's unsettling atmosphere, taking Scotty through a disturbing psychological journey. Stewart's portrayal of the character's transformation, from a rational detective to someone consumed by obsession, is a masterclass in emotional restraint and psychological tension. His performance is central to Vertigo's enduring impact. Tom Hanks is synonymous with charisma, humanity, and authenticity. With a career defined by his ability to portray endearing and complex characters, he has become one of cinema's most beloved actors. His talent lies in the natural way he conveys emotion, in comedies, dramas, or historical films. He has worked with some of the best directors, and his presence always guarantees a deep emotional connection with the audience. Hanks represents honesty on screen, always believable, always moving, from Saving Private Ryan to his extreme transformation in Cast Away.
Dad! Logan!
But his best performance remains.
You'd be so proud of him.
In Forrest Gump, Tom Hanks portrayed a man with a low IQ, but a profoundly pure outlook on life. His performance is the perfect blend of innocence, humor, and tenderness. Far from caricature, Hanks brings Forrest to life with dignity, showing how kindness and perseverance can have a lasting impact. Every gesture, every look, every word is carefully calibrated to convey sincere emotion. Forrest moves through decades of American history, sometimes as a witness, sometimes as a protagonist, without ever losing his essence. Hanks makes the viewer laugh, feel, and reflect with ease. His performance goes beyond the character. He turns Forrest into a symbol of hope and simplicity in a chaotic world. Leonardo DiCaprio is one of the most committed and versatile actors of his generation, one of the very few whose mere presence in a film is enough to make people go see it. From his beginnings as a young talent to his current status as a cinema legend, DiCaprio has shown an impressive ability to take on intense, complex, and emotionally demanding roles. His complete dedication to each character, combined with a remarkable acting maturity, has allowed him to shine in both deep dramas and frantic stories. From one of his most recent and moving performances,
promise yourself you're gonna stop fucking drinking.
to his most powerful role. But without a doubt, his most iconic, charismatic, and committed performance is
What? Brad! Brad!
In The Wolf of Wall Street, DiCaprio embodies Jordan Belfort, a stockbroker who personifies greed, unchecked ambition, and utter decadence. His performance is an explosion of energy, chaos, and comic precision. He dominates every scene with ferocious charisma, moving between hilarious and repulsive without ever losing control. From his drug-fueled rants to scenes of absolute delirium, DiCaprio delivers perfect timing, full physical commitment, and undeniable acting bravery. Yes, it's an excessive performance, but it's exactly what the character demands. It perfectly captures the lawless world of Wall Street. The scene where he tries to crawl to his car while high has become cinematic history for its physical execution and tragicomic brilliance.
Think, you motherfucker, think. Yes. I got it. I've got it. I can roll.
Jack Nicholson is one of the most recognizable and respected actors in film. His career spans decades and is full of memorable roles. He has a unique way of acting. He says so much with just a look or a small gesture, without ever needing to overdo it. He can be funny, intense, or threatening, and always feels real. He has presence, strength, and a special gift for making every character believable. Throughout his career, he worked with some of the greatest directors and built a solid, diverse, and influential filmography. On one hand, there are the Oscar-winning roles.
If I hadn't, I could be in bed right now with a woman who, if you make her laugh, you got a life.
But to me, his best performance was completely ignored by the Academy.
You didn't let me finish my sentence. I said, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains.
In The Shining, Jack Nicholson portrays absolute madness. He plays Jack Torrance, a man who gradually loses touch with reality. It's a controlled, progressive performance where the character's mental decline is revealed through gestures, tone of voice, and body language. The film rests on his shoulders. There are no tricks. What's frightening is watching an ordinary man break down. The scene where he breaks down the door with an axe is iconic, but there are many subtler moments that are just as disturbing. With this performance, Nicholson created one of the most unforgettable characters in horror history, without ever slipping into gratuitous exaggeration. What can be said about Al Pacino, one of the greatest legends in the history of cinema? With his intense gaze and explosive energy, he brought to life some of the most complex characters ever written. Emerging from a generation of actors trained in realism, he raised the bar for what it means to lead a film. His best performances don't just tell stories, they mark them with his personal stamp. Pacino is synonymous with presence, with resolve, with real weight on screen. Many have accused him of overacting in some films. And although that's not true 99% of the time, yes, in a few roles, he has gone too far.
She got a great ass!
But still,
Nobody's perfect.
from the legendary Tony Montana
Antonio Montana. And you? What you call yourself?
to his flawless portrayal of blindness.
Get on with your life, would you?
What life? I got no life! I'm in the dark here!
However, there's no debate. We all know what his greatest performance is.
In my home! In my bedroom where my wife sleeps! Where my children come and play with that.
What Al Pacino does in The Godfather is extraordinary. He portrays a character with unparalleled writing and complexity, going from innocence and a desire to avoid crime to becoming the coldest, most ruthless mafia boss. In this role, there's no overacting. He hardly needs to speak. As time passes, he becomes colder, more calculating, and increasingly powerful. This is not only Pacino's best performance, it's one of the greatest performances in film history. And from this point on, all the remaining ones are at least top 10 of all time. Get ready. Now we come to my favorite actor, the actor with the greatest filmography in history, with 9 films rated over 8 on Film Affinity, an absolute record. Let's go over his incredible body of work: The Godfather Part 2, Goodfellas, Raging Bull, Taxi Driver, Casino, The Deer Hunter, Heat, The Untouchables, and so many more. His commitment to each role, his physical and emotional transformation, and his ability to inhabit complex characters put him in a league of his own. He works from truth, from the smallest details to the most explosive emotions. He doesn't act to show off, he acts to reveal what lies beneath. He often plays broken, tough, conflicted men. From the legendary Vito Corleone to the disturbed Travis Bickle.
You talking to me? Well, then who the hell else are you talking to? Talking to me?
But his greatest performance, the one that redefined how far an actor is willing to go for a role, is in Raging Bull, De Niro becomes Jake LaMotta with a level of commitment rarely seen in cinema. He spent a full year training in boxing and even won several professional fights. Then, in the middle of filming, he gained 60 pounds to portray the boxer's physical decline. And from the inside out, he built a complex, aggressive, and deeply wounded character. In the ring, he moves with violent precision. Outside of it, he's a man consumed by jealousy, guilt, and emotional isolation. De Niro doesn't ask for understanding or forgiveness, only that we watch him closely without filter. And it's impossible to forget. Marlon Brando is the most legendary actor to ever grace the big screen. He was a turning point in the history of cinema. Before and after him, there are 2 entirely different ways of acting. He turned restraint into intensity and power, silence into presence, vulnerability into strength. He brought raw, unfiltered truth to the screen. He didn't act for the audience, he acted from within. His influence shaped entire generations, from De Niro to DiCaprio. He was rebellious, unpredictable, often difficult to work with, but his talent was undeniable. Brando didn't play characters, he allowed them to take shape through him. Every glance, every pause, Every choice he made left a mark that still lives on. With A Streetcar Named Desire, he completely revolutionized intensity in cinema.
Hey, Stella!
And in Apocalypse Now, with just a few minutes of screen time, he stole the entire film. But his most legendary role, the one that changed cinema forever, we all know which one it is.
Instead, you come into my house on the day my daughter's to be married and you ask me to do murder.
With Brando, Vito Corleone wasn't just another gangster. He became a father figure, a symbol of quiet power, a man burdened with the responsibility of protecting his world. Brando gave him a raspy voice, slow movements, a calmness that intimidated more than any shout ever could. In his very first scene, without raising his voice, he makes it clear who's in charge. And it's not about what he says, it's how he says it. What he achieves is unique. He makes a mob boss feel dignified, almost tragic. The garden scene, talking to Michael about the future, holds a disarming tenderness. When he plays with his grandson in the field before dying, we don't see the Godfather. We see a father, a grandfather, a man. Brando filled every frame effortlessly. He didn't just bring the most iconic character in film to life. He made him human, intimate, unforgettable. His performance doesn't age, it only grows in stature. Daniel Day-Lewis is the greatest actor of all time. He's the most complete, rigorous, extreme, and transformative actor cinema has ever seen. Every role is a 100% immersion. Body, voice, personal history. Everything is built from the ground up. He never repeats gestures, never relies on formulas. Each character lives differently, with its own weight, its own breath. He works with obsession, with silence, with depth. Without a doubt, the most extreme method actor ever. He's the only actor in history with 3 Oscars for Best Actor. And not because he does more, but because he does exactly what's needed, with a precision that borders on the impossible. When he prepares for a role, he sometimes spends years becoming that person entirely. In the Name of the Father, he lived locked in a cell, and during filming, asked to be kept for hours in the interrogation room. He requested to be questioned without warning, to be physically assaulted, and he went days without eating or sleeping to appear emaciated. In My Left Foot, Day-Lewis lived as a quadriplegic and suffered lasting physical consequences. But there's one performance where he took acting to the absolute limit. Not only his best, but the greatest performance in cinema history.
Say it louder. Say it louder. I've abandoned my child! I've abandoned my child! I've abandoned my boy!
To portray Daniel Plainview, the actor spent several months living alone in a desert, completely cut off from the world. No phone, no contact whatsoever. During that time, he developed a voice from scratch, and what we hear in the film is completely unlike his own. As if that weren't enough, once he began preparing the role, he stayed in character, even off camera. Paul Dano said he was afraid to speak to him, because it felt like talking to a monster. This role brought Day-Lewis severe psychological issues. He had to attend therapy and stepped away from acting for nearly a decade. But that's how the greatest performance in cinema history was forged. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment which ones I missed, and check out my playlist of the greatest performances ever.